Hey, greetings, welcome back. Welcome back to the Car Doctor channel. I'm Tim. I'm coming to you from the repair shop of Donor Automotive in Anchorage, Alaska. If you're up in my neck of the woods and need a place to work on your Toyota or whatever, give us a call, check it out. Anyway, doing a quick video. It's actually kind of a follow-up or supplemental video. Oftentimes I record something and leave out some information or not really specific about something, and also you the viewers always keep me on my toes. So this particular follow-up is about a Toyota Tacoma wheel bearing hub assembly replacement, and basically I did a video on that. I'm going to put a link to that here. I'm also going to link this video, of course, to that one, and provide a little additional details about ways of doing this. I did briefly mention that in the other video, but I'm going to actually show some of that here. This is an alternate method for replacement of the hub and bearing assembly. There's actually a few different ways of going about this, but this is going to show a couple shortcuts. I also last time showed removal of the brake line. I actually opened the brake system, which was stupid, and I'm not sure why I did that, but plenty of you responded letting me know how stupid that was. So I'll show you how to just, remove the bracket bolt here and hang that caliper off to the side, so you don't have to open up the brake system. That's going to save you a little bit of time, of course, but also in regards to replacement of the hub, there's a couple options. I'm going to use, just like before, the moot part. That's what I like to go with on this. Other than OE, it's the only thing I would recommend using. There is some other options though. You can get an entire hub assembly with the hub pressed into it already, so that you don't need a press at all. And last time I showed how to remove the entire knuckle assembly and take it to the press and go through that whole routine. That actually allows you to torque the hub to knuckle bolts. The way I'm going to do it here, you're not going to be able to use a torque wrench. They don't make an adapter that I'm aware of to actually torque the hub nuts, as it's behind the flange of the end of the hub. But that said, there's nothing, a little bit of blue Loctite and get them properly tightened. It's not going to be an issue. It's just not. I know there's some torque Nazis out there that will say otherwise, but I am going to just show you another way of doing it. It's going to save a little bit of time and save money. You can get the entire assembly with the hub there. You're also it's going to limit your ability to properly torque the hub to knuckle bolts, but that costs a little bit more too. And there was an availability problem with that part, so I couldn't even get that part here today. And they make some Dorman parts. I would just totally steer clear of that. Don't do it. Just say no. So anyway, I'll start by removing the bracket on the brake hose to caliper with just 12 millimeter, and then we'll always, as we always do, support the caliper with a piece of wire to prevent it from stretching the flexible brake hose and causing issues there. Okay, once we've got that bracket loose, we can remove the two caliper mounting bracket to knuckle bolts. I'm using 17 millimeters on my impact. And you can compress the caliper a little bit, push the pads back, and like I said, we'll just grab this wire and support it back here, hang it off to the side. Now I'm going to remove this brake rotor, actually using let's see, it's probably a 10 millimeter bolt. That. Got the rotor out of the way. Now I'm going to pop this little cap off the end of the hub just by using a little regular screwdriver. I remove the cotter pin off of the spindle nut retainer. I always replace this cotter pin with a new one. Remove the spindle nut retainer, and then this spindle nut. I'm actually using an 1 3/8 socket on the spindle nut. It's somewhere around a 32, 34 millimeter, I think. I'm going to press this in a little bit since it's kind of usually stuck in the hub face, but you don't want to damage these threads. You could thread this on and pound on it a bit. I'm actually going to use my air hammer and just suck that in a bit. And then we're going to remove these 4 hub bolts. Now we just got to loosen and remove. Well, actually, we're not going to be able to fully remove, but there's 4 hub to knuckle bolts. Take a 17 millimeter wrench and loosen each one. And just take them out as far as you can. They're going to run into the back face of this hub. And now taking the rest of the way. By the way, this vehicle had a condition where developed a loud bearing noise, speeds over 20 miles an hour, and just progressively got louder. It changed when you would turn side to side, and after lifting the vehicle and spinning the front tires, you could definitely hear the bearing growl out of both front hubs. There was no side-to-side play in these hubs, and the vehicle has under 90,000 miles, but Well, it just needs some hubs. So we got our hub assembly off. We'll take it over to the vise, or let's see, first off, we're going to press the hub out of the bearing. Okay, now we need to press the hub out of the bearing assembly. So I've mounted it to this bearing knife. And we're going to set it up in the press. Socket. Press it out of there. Okay. Now we've got to get this bearing and seal off of here so we can press this into the new housing. So we're going to take it over to the vise and cut this off of there. Okay, we're going to just clamp this into the vise. And I'm going to carefully cut this bearing race and seal off with my grinder. That should do it. Now we'll finish the deed with my air chisel. We just made a little scar there. Not a big deal. It's not going to cause any problems. We just press that over the new bearing. So we'll take this over to the press. Okay, here's our new hub or bearing assembly. There is a little plastic piece in here. That's just to hold the bearings together while you're pressing it together. So this is what faces outside. So you'll put your hub to knuckle bolts going through from the outside, and then this is what you're going to press together. So I will take one of the old bearings from the inside the hub, and I'm going to use that on top of there like that, so that plastic piece will press down inside of there, and this will also hold that bearing assembly together on the press as we're pressing the hub down into it. Get things lined up here. You wouldn't want to press it together the wrong way. Wouldn't want to have this upside down. So make sure you got it right side out and press your hub in there. You don't have to press it completely all the way and seat the hub all the way in there. You want to get it close. You can suck it the rest of the way with your spindle nut once it's installed. That's good enough. There, press that plastic piece out. And we've got it almost fully seated, maybe an 1/8 of an inch to go. and we'll go ahead and take this over to the vehicle now. Okay, last thing you want to do before you install it on the vehicle is put some blue Loctite on the threads of each hub to knuckle bolt. Go ahead and reinstall it. You also want to be careful of the speed sensor which is behind here. You don't want to hit it and damage it. They're kind of hard to get started, but once again, just run them all down finger tight until you get it mated with the flange here, and then you want to just evenly torque those down. Snug things up using my combination wrench and a sledgehammer. The actual torque on this is going to be 59 foot-pounds if you were torquing it before you press the hub in. Let's put my spindle nut on just to hold things together. And now we'll go ahead and install the rotor. I'll apply some blue Loctite to my two brake caliper mounting bracket to knuckle bolts. And go ahead and carefully reinstall the caliper. I'm going to install my caliper, tighten down the mounting bracket bolts. And we torque those to 90 foot-pounds. Now we can torque our spindle nut, and that gets torqued to 173 foot-pounds torque. Putting the cotter pin in and the spindle nut retainer. We install our cap. And our bracket bolt. Now we just install and torque our wheel. Once we get these run down, we're going to lower it and torque the wheel to 83 foot-pounds torque. So if you do not remove the knuckle assembly or disturb the alignment cams on the control arms or anything, or tie rod in, you're not going to need to do a realignment on this car following these repairs. So it's never a bad idea to realign the car once in a while, but it's not going to grossly impact the alignment by doing these repairs. That about wraps this one up. Just want to remind you to always use safe lifting practices. I got a great 4-post hoist with a rolling bridge jack on this. I jacked it up and supported it under the control arms. So always use a flat level surface. Concrete is your best bet. Use jack stands. Do it right. Encourage you to follow the manufacturer's repair guide. These videos are just for entertainment purposes, and hopefully just give you an idea about what is entailed in doing this process. I really appreciate you watching. I hope this has been helpful to you, and we'll catch you next time on the Car Doctor channel. Have a good one.